All right, welcome back to another episode of Too Much Podtar. I'm back with you today for another episode with Johnny Black and Joe Ricotta. As you know, just talking for like an hour beforehand, trying to get started, but kind of just I always like to do that, just shoot the shit beforehand. So, yeah, welcome back to the show, and this is our first episode that's going to be on YouTube, so it's a big thing. And since for all the YouTube listeners watchers, how about we just introduce ourselves and give what our kind of our background. So myself, I'm on Twitter at Alex Keeler. You can find me there, and I joined the Score Crow, which was what Primetime Sports Talk was before we joined with them. I joined them back in I think November of 2018. I think that's correct, but.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I just did basically just general baseball articles, and now I'm doing, fantasy baseball. Also, branched off to NFL, also doing gambling stuff as well. So I've definitely come a long way since I first started. And now Johnny, he was the one who brought me on. So, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Johnny Black, at jball0202 on Twitter. Ran the Score Pro for a long time, for about a year and a half. Then we merged with Primetime Sports Talk. But Alex and Joey have both been with me for a couple of years now. Time flies. But yeah, we still do NFL, MLB, big baseball stuff coming up, NFL draft coming up, everything. So definitely at primetimesportstalk.com and keep reading them. Keep following our YouTubes and get it going.
Yeah. All right, Joe, you want to tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I guess, pretty much just for YouTube, right? Because anybody probably listening to this has probably already heard me or you or Johnny on the podcast. But yeah, I've been writing it, like Johnny said, at primetimesportstalk.com for, I think I joined not long after you, Alex.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was like a couple months after me.
But yeah, I mean, just following all the sports, writing baseball, writing football, doing a lot of DFS stuff, a lot of fantasy stuff, trying to do some draft stuff and some MLB prospects. I'm working on the Cubs tonight. And yeah, that's about it, man. Just excited for this baseball season coming up. Got a lot to talk about, I'm sure, and there's always news coming out, so it's a fun time of year, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'm getting excited. It's almost March. Well, once this episode's out, it will be March. So, yeah, we'll look back on the off season here in this episode. Try to give some of our winners and losers of the off season. So, I'll start off with one of my winners, which was the Padres. They had a huge offseason, trading for Darvish, Snell, Joe Musgrave, and then also still keeping like most of the prospects, like most of the top prospects. They didn't really give up much in those trades, so definitely a huge offseason, and they're gonna really contend this year. I don't think they're gonna win the NL West, but they have a chance to really give the Dodgers some trouble, I think. So that was definitely one of the best off seasons for this year.
Yeah, AJ Preller, man, went crazy this offseason. So it's the story of the offseason, really. He just continues to not give a damn and just go for it. This offseason especially went for it with Snell, Darvish, extending Tatis. Mm-hmm. I mean, Musgrove, like you said, it's really crazy. I don't think any of us will disagree that we all probably think that they're the winners of the offseason for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. And it started, it just didn't start this year either with Preller. I mean, he started a couple of years ago when he signed Machado to the long-term deal. brought him in. Even Hosmer. Say what you want about Hosmer. All right. First base is a little weak of a position. And getting someone like Hosmer, who's veteran leadership, someone who's won a World Series before, he brings that veteran presence. And then you bring in Machado to work around the young guys like Tatis. And even the pitching staff they brought up. I mean, Mackenzie Gore is going to be up soon. Dinelson Lamet, Paddock, like guys like that. And then adding Snell and Darvish, like a couple of veterans into that mix. And Clevenger obviously won't pitch this year, but, they still have him. And he's in the hole. So they got ace in the hole in that sense. I mean, Prela's done this for a couple of years now. He's built this team. And honestly, they're gonna challenge the Dodgers this year in the NL West. I think they may be a year away, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Yeah, and there's some like you said, he didn't just start this year with some of those other moves too, like Tommy Pham, who he's had a heck of an offseason or whatever too, and I don't know what's been going on with him, getting stabbed or whatever happened. But he's going to add something to that team. Trent Grisham's a very underrated player, outfielder, on base guy, can hit it for a little pop. He steals bases. That team, like you said, Johnny, that division's going to be fun to watch. The Dodgers, it's not a lock that the Dodgers win that division by any means.
Yeah.
It's going to be definitely a fun race. And another race I was looking at too, obviously, that the NL East, that's probably going to be the best one to watch. I think almost every team's going to be in that hunt. And another winner was the Mets. They had a pretty good offseason, getting obviously Lindor and Carrasco. A couple other moves they made, but that was the major one they made. I really like that move for them. Lindor is going to be huge in that lineup, and his defense. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going, just with the Mets too. I mean, getting James McCann right off the bat, I think was a good move. Not playing the game with the whole JT Realmuto free agency thing. Just going in and being like, all right, we like McCann, let's bring him in. It's a definite. Granted, he's not JT Realmuto, but he's an upgrade from what they had in Wilson Ramos. I mean, McCann's definitely an upgrade there. And they made the moves they needed to make. They brought in Lindor, and all right, they gave up Rosario, Jimenez, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? They brought Lindor in, who's arguably the best shortstop in baseball overall.
Yeah.
That's what they needed to do. Now they just need to extend them, but they have the time to do it now. Just like what the Dodgers did with Betts in the offseason, bringing him in, letting him there, having him there for the season and extending him and, signing him to. I think the Mets are looking at it as a similar situation. Trade for Lindor on his last year of his contract and then sign him long term. And I think they'll be fine. Should they go out and get a center fielder? Yeah. I mean, they got your boy, Joey, Albert Amora Jr., but, does that solve their center field issues? No, but they have a prospect, Pete Crow Armstrong, who looks like he's going to be the real deal. As far as at least athletically in center field, he's definitely going to stick there. But he's also a couple of years away. So, if they want to play the waiting game and just like fill the spot in center field for now, if they can re-sign Conforto, lock up Nimmo, get Lindor in there, and then when Pete Crow Armstrong comes up, they'll have a really good outfield.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we know what Almora. Oh, jeez. We we know what Almora brings. It's basically just defense at this point. I mean, he'll maybe hit a little bit against a left-handed pitcher, but he's not really a hitter. He's not at the big league level right now. But I agree with you about Pete Crow Armstrong and some guys like that he could be a potential fit down the road. Nimmo, I guess he could play a little bit of center too right now if you want to put Dom Smith at like left field and or Conforto. I don't know, whoever left and right. Conforto probably in right, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't be terrible. Your defense is kind of lacking there though at that point. Um, and then maybe you could just put Almora as like a defensive replacement. I'm thinking because he does play pretty good center field defense. So that's solid for them this year at least. But yeah, they're pitching. You know, their bullpen looks pretty good. They've got some guys leading up to Edwin Diaz too, and their starting staff obviously looks strong. I think Stroman's working on like a new pitch right now, or he's been working on a new pitch, and he didn't even pitch last year, just opted out. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a pretty strong starting staff. I mean, they would have loved to have Bauer, but I think Taijuan Walker is even a decent pickup for him. Underrated move, really, if he can stay healthy. He just never is able to stay healthy, but if he stays healthy, I think that's a solid move for him. But you obviously have an ace with DeGrom. I mean, you've got pieces there, so their lineup looks pretty scary with Pete Alonso, Lindor, Davis. I mean, up and down McCann, like you said, he's a pretty underrated hitter for a catcher. We all three of us agreed on the fantasy rankings for the catchers. Fantasy rankings. We did the catchers podcast, and we all agreed that we liked McCann as a solid sleeper. So, the Mets they're going to be good. They're going to be right in the runnings for that NL East for sure.
Yeah, another guy they got too was Trevor May, who was a former Twin. That he's a guy, really good guy for their bullpen. You know, he was really solid for the Twins last year, so it definitely shores up their bullpen a lot, like you said, before we get into Diaz. So.
Yep. Did we know what's going on with Lugo? I didn't even.
I don't know.
Was there something that happened to him, or I don't know if I read something. I don't know. Or one of the setup guys.
I haven't seen anything with Lugo.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nothing with Lugo. There was somebody that I thought I saw that got hurt. I don't know where I saw that at. But Betances. They still have Betances too, and Familia in the pen.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty solid bullpen as long as you get what they can do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're going to be in the running for like you said, the NL East it's tough, man. I mean, Miami surprised a lot of people last year. Now, was it a fluke in a 60-game season? Possibly. Whatever. But Atlanta's still Atlanta. When you have Acuna, Albies, Freeman, and they just brought back Ozuna, I mean, you can't argue with that top four in a lineup.
Yeah.
And then you got Dansby Swanson, So, they get Soroka back this year to go along with Fried. They still got a solid team.
Yeah.
The Phillies brought back Didi. They brought back JT. They have Nolan Wheeler at the top of their rotation with Eflin as the third. Now, the back end of the rotation is a little weak with Matt Moore and Chase Anderson, but I think they could possibly pick up a veteran here or there. Odorizzi's still out there. Porcello's still out there. They might be able to get some late guy.
And that's not including Spencer Howard too. That's another guy.
Yeah, and Spencer Howard too.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what he's going to be? I mean, he's had shoulder issues, but the kid still can throw. So we'll see what he can do. That division's even the Nationals. When you got Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin as your top three, if they're all healthy, that's as good of a top three in the major leagues. Honestly, I mean, Scherzer's just as good as anybody as an ace, and Strasburg's 1A. And when you have Corbin there, you got talent with Juan Soto, one of the best hitters already. at what is he, 21, 22 years old? You know, Victor Robles, Trey Turner. I mean, they have the pieces there too. You know, they're only 2 years
Yeah,
removed from a World Series championship. So
they
you can't
added some
count them out
solid
either.
pieces
Yeah,
too. They added Schwarber, they added Josh Bell. They had a pretty good off season.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
those,
that's right. Schwarber and Bell. Yep.
those
They
guys
put
could
power in that
be
lineup,
big
man.
for them.
Yeah.
And
Who
like
they
you
added in the
said,
bullpen,
that's
too?
the big question. The
They added
starting
a big name
pitcher
in-
health.
They added a big name in the bullpen too. Didn't they bring on Brad Hand?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean,
It's gonna be a
they got
tough
a closer.
division.
They got a great top three in a rotation. They got a closer. They have Pop in the lineup. Obviously, they're right in the mix. The NL
And-
is tough, man. The whole National League is rough to pick. You know, and then when you go over to the Central, you got a bunch of teams that did nothing except for the Cardinals bringing on Arenado. But the Cubs, sorry, Joey, but you Cubs just like, you know, they get rid of everybody.
Yeah,
I know.
they're a loser.
The Reds didn't do
I
anything.
know.
The Pirates are a minor league team at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. That division is just, you know, and Milwaukee, you know, there's rumors about them moving Hader and Yelich. Like, you know, I don't know what's going on with that, but St. Louis could walk into that division with like 83 wins this year.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, they could win the division with 83 wins. And that's also gonna lead into what I was gonna say about the Cubs too. I could still see them if they don't wind up moving, like if they start out the season hot, because I feel like a lot of guys on the offensive side had a really down year last year, other than Ian Happ and maybe Jason Hayward. Those are the only two guys that had good years last year. And if you have normal years from Rizzo, Bryant's been somewhat iffy, and then he's been dealing with injuries and stuff. So if you have a solid year from him, you have a solid year from Willie Contreras. Baez had an extremely down year with no video. He likes checking the video, in-game video. Didn't have that. No fans. That affected him a lot. So the pitching is just who knows, but they're balancing it out with a lot of guys that are like soft tosser command type of pitchers. With
who do they have as their rotation? I
Their
mean, you got
rotation-
Kyle Hendricks, Alec Mills.
Alec Mills,
mean-
yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of like command type of pitchers.
There's another guy that Washington added too, John Wester.
Yeah.
One of your boys.
I don't know why they didn't even. I mean, I kind of get it, I guess. Like they signed Arrieta for $2 million more. I believe it was $2 million more than what Lester signed for, which I get it. He's a little younger. He might have a little bit more left in the tank if he's healthy. But Lester gives you innings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a horse. He's a horse.
The comfortability level with Arrieta coming back to Chicago, he feels better coming to Chicago. And then Ross knows him. David Ross knows him better than probably any manager. So we'll see.
Lightning in a bottle for a year. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And Zach Davies should be pretty solid though. Him, Mills, Hendricks, Arrieta, and then we'll see about the fifth starter. It could be Alzolay. It could be there's a couple other guys, Tyson Miller, Trevor Williams. Who knows who the fifth starter is really going to be?
Yeah.
But those four guys, you're just kind of hoping for innings and bounce backs from the hitters. Really, that's what the Cubs are hoping for.
Yeah.
So,
I want to call out the GOAT Jeff Passan for a second. He completely trolled the shit out of Red Sox fans earlier.
Yeah, I saw
he
that.
trolled the shit out of me too.
He's like, the Boston Red Sox have acquired Bryant from the Chicago Cubs. Zach Bryant, a 22-year-old right-hander. He's the player to be named later in the Josh Osich trade at last summer's deadline. That's
awesome.
That's like the best trolling I've ever seen. Like
that was great. That was great. When I saw that, I love Passan. He is the GOAT.
Oh man. I almost had a heart attack for a second. I'm like, well, okay, what did they get? What did they get? And I'm like, Zach.
What did they get
Okay.
from the Red Sox? The Red
What
Sox.
they get? They got Josh Hosek again.
Yeah. Great. Great.
Oh man,
So
Oh,
terrible.
Jeff Passan's one of the winners of the offseason.
oh, he's definitely a winner.
Jeff
Especially
Pass.
since Rosenthal's been like slacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
it? Where's all this breaking news at?
Hey, he's been off his game lately, man. Rosenthal's been off his game. Man. Passan's become the man.
Breaking stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
I don't
Well,
know.
stuff wrong too, but it's like Nightingale, Heyman, Passan. Passan's the one that never gets stuff wrong, really. Him or Rosenthal, you can rely on.
I go with Passan's the man right now. Passan is like Woj
Yeah.
in the NBA. Like that's it. Passan says that you trust it. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Passan, Woj, and Schefter. Those are the top three guys for all
Yeah.
sports.
Yep. Exactly. I'll trust Heyman. Heyman's good as far as that. Nightingale, I can't trust at all. he's just like anything opposite.
But then sometimes they'll give you like something that actually goes right or is right, and then you're like, oh, he got it right. What But you can't trust him.
Well, that's the problem. It surprises you when he gets something right. That's not a good thing.
For a reporter, it's not a good thing.
Now, Woj and Shams in the NBA, Schefter, and I go with Rappaport too.
Oh yeah,
he's Rappaport in the NFL. He's good. As far as baseball goes, definitely passing. Rosenthal too, but Rosenthal's just been off his game lately. And Heyman, I'll give Heyman some credit. And Morosi, I like John Morosi a lot.
Yeah,
although he doesn't break a lot of news, like I like his stuff a lot.
Yeah, he's on top of what's happening though.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, I don't trust anybody else.
No.
Yeah. No, none of these burner accounts.
Yeah. Some of these guys, man. I don't know how they get the blue check mark.
I wonder what happened to Beltran's niece, like from a couple years ago.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was just last off season, right? With the scandal.
Oh yeah, was. I think it was a couple years ago, but yeah, it was last off season.
Beltran's niece. That was probably
it's been a long year.
Yeah, it feels
feels like 3 years.
Like a couple years ago.
God,
we're almost at a year since all this shit went crazy. March 12th, things started shutting down.
Just nuts, man.
I'm glad we're looks like we're gonna get a full season this year, though. That's something to be positive about.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
I hope. Yeah, exactly. I hope so.
Yeah.
Certainly hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I'm hoping the same for the minor leagues because I'm supposed to still have my internship this year. So.
Oh, you're with the Rail Riders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that better happen because I'm itching to actually go and get to some action in person.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that would be awesome, man.
Yeah. Well, what other winners or losers do you guys have for this off season?
I'll give you a loser.
All right.
I could give you the Cubs, but I don't think they're as big of a loser as like they did get some prospects back, and they had to kind of start a rebuild somewhat. The Rockies, they got a decent prospect back, but not nearly the worth that. I mean, they didn't even get the amount that the Cubs got back for Darvish. The Rockies, what are you doing? What
they're gonna be
British or British, whatever his name is. Like he's always in no man's land. Like they just can't do anything right. It seems like I don't understand what it takes for them to realize they need to build the team around contact speed guys and pitching. Like I don't know. I mean, yeah, they got a pitcher back, but they didn't even get like a one of their top arms. I just can't. I don't know. I don't know what the Rockies are doing ever, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're gonna be the worst team in baseball this year for sure. They're not gonna they're not gonna do anything. I can't see anything happening with them. Like,
Yeah, the Rockies suck. They just suck. Bottom line, I mean, they're just horrible. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. Like, I don't know what they're doing, what they're thinking.
yeah,
I mean,
they have two assets, Arenado and Story. Two
Yeah.
viable assets that people will trade for and give you a lot for. And they already screwed up one of them in Arenado. And they're giving the Cardinals $50 million to pay for part of his salary. Like, what?
I didn't get that
I don't get it
at all.
like here you go. You want some money with that too? Like, yeah, sure, of
Yeah.
course.
So ridiculous. We talked about that. We did, me and you, Alex, one of the podcasts right after it happened, I think.
Yeah, it was like immediate reaction to it or whatever.
So stupid.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
I mean, they might squeak out some wins just because their offense will get some runs in that ballpark, but that team is doing jack squat this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And who knows what the future looks like? You know, that's the thing. It's like, what is there to be positive about? They ruin these prospects because they don't even let them play.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers is still like just sitting in the minor leagues. He should have been up by like 3 years ago.
The guy's been a prospect for 8 years. What is he, 20? Is he 27 already? I mean, come on already. Like, play
Garrett
the guy.
Hampson, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ryan McMahon.
Play.
Like, all these guys. Like, just, dude, you know, trade Arenado, trade Story, trade Marquez. Get
Right.
something for these guys. Trade John Gray. Trade any of these guys. Just rebuild.
How about just sell
Break
the
it
team?
all down and start over.
Right. Trade Hampson, trade Rodgers, whatever you can get. Like,
Yeah,
Always play them. At least if you trade now they traded Arenado, like at least trade Story. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Trade him for something now. And then just play these guys. Play Brendan Rodgers at shortstop, which is where he was supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
it's so
you know, and you got Hampson, McMahon. You still got Blackman. Like, I don't know. They got rid of David Dahl too. Like they cut him, and he got signed by the Rangers. Like,
why would you cut him? Like,
it's the Rockies.
Yeah.
It's the Rockies.
like he basically he was like having an all-star season before he got hurt.
They just have no clue of how Bredich and Monfort, their owner, Dick Monfort, like they have no idea how to run a team. None whatsoever. They're the worst run organization, probably next to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They're right on the par. Like they're the worst run organizations in baseball.
And you know, and we look at like all the bad teams, right? Like the Tigers are in much better shape than both of these teams.
Oh, by far.
Like their prospects are coming. They're like Torkelson, Skubal. They got prospects coming.
Oh yeah.
Even the
Mize.
Mariners
Oh,
the playoffs in what 16 years.
The Mariners have great prospects coming too.
Mariners will be good eventually. Jerry DiPoto he just has fun talking to other GMs at like midnight and making trades. He's like a fantasy owner. I swear to God, man. He plays this like a fantasy team. He's just like, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll give you this guy and this guy. It's like it's weird with DiPoto. It's so funny.
Did you guys see what? You guys heard about the Mather thing or whatever his name is? Mather.
Yeah.
He resign, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't even.
That's kind of fucked up what they did with Kalenic.
Oh, but we kind of knew. We kind of knew that was happening, but just without them saying it.
It happens all the time. Well, duh.
Yeah.
Joey, know it, Chris Bryant. I mean, he lost his grievance.
The poster boy for it.
Exactly. Right? And you know damn well he's not re-signing with the Cubs because of that.
Yeah, I don't
That just
know.
burn-
I don't
you
know.
just burn bridges like that, and then already
That's the thing,
Seattle.
though. He keeps
Kalenic,
saying he wants
Kalenic's
to
got
come
a
back.
calendar. Kalenic's got a calendar. He's Xing off until 2026 when he's a free agent because he sure as hell isn't signing with the Mariners.
No.
Like, you don't do that. See, the Angels were smart. The Angels, in Trout's second year in the big leagues, they signed him a 6-year, $144 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
Wiped out his rookie year, wiped out his arbitration, and then what happened? They just re-signed him to 13 years, 400 million, whatever it is, blah blah blah. But that goes a long way. When you initially talk to the player and sign him to a long-term deal, or work something out with them, and be like, all right, we'll sign you to this, and buy up 1 or 2 years of free agent. You could still be a free agent when you're 28, 29 years old, and still go get the money. But, that goes a long way. And the Mariners this kid's not even in the major leagues yet, and you already burnt your bridges.
You never say that in public. You never,
exactly.
Well, first of all, the handling of the situation is stupid from the jump, and the way that this whole service time thing works, that's a whole long discussion we could get into, because I can't stand the whole service time thing, to be honest.
It'll be addressed in the CBA in December.
That better be.
Yeah. And it's going to be a big thing. That's going to be a huge thing.
I hope, and I'm on the player's side all day with that. We want to see these kids play. We want to see them play. Who wants a player to waste a year or half a year or a month that they could be playing if they're ready to play at the major league level just because they want more control over their signed, more control of them to stay on the team? That's so stupid to me. Like, we want to see these guys play. It's bad for the game, and it's not even just bad for the team. Like, forget the team. I don't care if it's the Cubs that want to keep a guy an extra year. Was I complaining because now we got Bryant this year? But what good did it do? Because, like you said, he's probably leaving after this season.
He's definitely leaving.
I mean,
there's no way he's re-signing with the Cubs. No. Not after that.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's
not
the thing,
after
Johnny.
that.
Like, he says. I mean, we know that they'll say whatever at the same time because they don't want to burn bridges themselves or look like a bad guy. But he says that he wants to be in Chicago. He doesn't want to be anywhere else. Same thing with Kelenic. Kelenic said the same thing after all this stuff happened. He's like, I want to play in Seattle. I'm so excited to play for the Mariners. Whatever he tweeted out. But, I mean, you know, how much do you buy of that? Of course, right?
But of course they got to say that because they're playing there this year.
Yeah.
Bryant's playing in front of the Wrigley faithful this year.
Right.
Of course he's not going to burn his bridges with the fans.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm all in on the Cubs this year and blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Kelenic. He hasn't even played a game yet in the major leagues. Of course he's going to be like, yes, I'm a Seattle Mariner, through and through, blah, blah, blah. We all know the back end of it. We all know the business side of it.
Yeah. So what if the Mariners were to go after this happened, obviously, what if the Mariners were to go to Kelenic and say, look, we screwed up. He's not with us anymore. We want to extend you. We're bringing you on opening day. What can we do here? That could repair the relationship fast, but you got to make that.
It's possible.
Reach out, right?
Possible. But that's got to be priority number one then with the new guy coming in. I don't know who the interim guy is for now.
I don't know either.
So
I think they should.
Yeah. Kalenic's going to be a stud, man. That kid can play.
Oh, he's going to be good.
Can play.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to be really good. The Mets was so stupid.
That trade was
rid of him.
Yeah.
So bad.
Looking really bad now.
It looks even worse now. Cano suspended.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks even worse. And Diaz hasn't been what he was. It just looks horrible. It was such a bad move for the Mets. They should have never gotten rid of him. Kalenek's going to be he's going to be really good.
You know, that's the thing too. If they were to reach out and extend him before the season or extend him whatever, I think you would do it before the season because it sends a good message to the rest of the players on the team and in the organization that look, that's not how we are. We're not operating like that. That's why this guy's gone. Right. Yeah, he resigned, but we told him to see the door, basically.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, you got to send a message. You know, perception, we all know, especially in this day and age with social media and everything, perception's even more important than reality.
Right.
We all know the reality that goes on behind the scenes with arbitration hearings that teams, they try to crush their players to save $1 million in arbitration hearings. We all know that they manipulate the service time, but everyone puts on a pretty face when it comes to like outside. You know, we all know perception is more important than reality, and that's the way it is. You know, so like you said, the Mariners, new guy coming in, interim guy, or maybe a permanent guy. I don't even know who the guy is, or woman, or it could be anybody. But that's the perception they have to put out there. Is that all right? You know, we're approaching Kelenik and seeing if we can work something out. And it would work out for both sides. You know, if they can reach an agreement with Kelenik and he wants to stay there and he said he wants to stay there and he reaches an agreement with Seattle, you know, looks good for both ends. He looks like he's telling the truth that he wants to be there. And they look like they're fixing the stuff they needed to fix by signing him long term and building around him. And like you said, Joey, it sends a good message to the other players like Kyle Lewis, like the young guys they have there.
Yeah.
You know,
J-Rod.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it goes a long way. Like, I forget who I was talking to. I was talking to a buddy of mine. They're talking about Kansas City, the Royals, Dayton Moore, and those guys. They do things the right way. Look, after 2015, when they won the World Series, you know, they went through 2016, 2017, and all their guys, Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Alex Gordon, Mike Moustakas, all these guys were up for free agency at the end of the year. They re-signed Gordon, and he retired as a Royal. Okay, rightfully so. That's fine. But they hung on to them, and everyone, including us and everything, was like, why didn't they trade them when they could get something for them? But you know what?
Same situation in Chicago.
He showed loyalty. Dayton Moore showed loyalty to his players that you're Royals. We're going to hang on to you. We may not sign you in the offseason, but you brought us a World Series a couple of years ago. We're going to hang on to you. You know what that tells young guys when they draft them?
Yeah.
You know, Asa Lacy, Chris Bubik, all these pitchers, Brady Singer, all these guys that Jackson Coar, all these pitchers they brought in and stuff like that. It tells them, we're going to stick with you no matter what. You're a Royal. We drafted you. You're part of the family. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
It goes a long way with these guys. Make no mistake about it. Granted, they may have been better off as a team on the field, so to speak, if they would have traded Moustakas at the deadline, Hosmer at the deadline, Cain at the deadline. But in the long term, it wasn't a bad move. It wasn't a bad move at all. And it shows what their organization is about. And that can mean a lot going forward. We're talking 10, 20 years down the road, on and on and on, with like the guys I mentioned, the pitchers they drafted and stuff like that, the Bobby Witt Juniors and like guys like that. It's not lost on those guys and the agents that represent them. It's not lost on them. Think about the agents that represent Hosmer and Cain and Moustakas and guys like that. Those agents will be representing other players coming up, and the Royals draft them. The fact that they allowed them to go to free agency and didn't trade them at the trading deadline goes a long way in business relations. So it was a smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're seeing kind of the same situation outside of Bryant, of course. But even then, if they don't trade him, it's like they hung on to him his whole thing. But, Rizzo, he's probably going to get re-signed from what it sounds like. Maybe even before the season, he's going to get extended. Baez, there's still talks about it, but I mean, we just saw what kind of money that Tatis got, and so Baez is probably asking for a ton right now. So I don't see that happening anytime soon, that type of extension. But I mean, the World Series core, you see them, they hung on to those guys for quite a while. They haven't traded really anybody from that core. So it's kind of, so maybe that goes a long way. Like the only real wrongdoing that they kind of did, well, not kind of, but was, of course, the Chris Bryant initial, calling up and not calling up, that situation. But we'll see how it plays out. I don't know with all that. I don't think he's coming back, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we were doing prospects. I want to kind of transition to prospect stuff because we were doing some of that. The articles Joey was talking about doing his before for the Cubs. Who's like one guy, like a kind of a dark horse candidate for a rookie of the year this year? You guys could think of. I guess I could go first. One guy actually with maybe kind of a dark horse, Garrett Crochet of the White Sox, who made his he made his debut last year and just after being drafted, and he showed some good stuff there. He's definitely can be a good piece to their White Sox in the bullpen, and I could see the White Sox making some noise this year. So he's definitely somebody I can see doing damage.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to have a homer pick here
Mm-hmm.
and go with Al. I'm gonna have to have a homer pick here and go with Alex Kirilloff from the Twins. Alex was just waiting for me to bring up the Twins. I know he was, because it was coming.
Yeah.
But Kirilloff is ready to come up to the majors this year. He's all set. After having Tommy John surgery, he's not a pitcher, so it's not as doesn't affect him as much. But he had Tommy John surgery in 2017, but the kid just hits. With the Twins getting rid of Eddie Rosario this year, Kirilloff's set to play left field. And he's also going to play some first base. He played 35 games last year in Double-A at first base. So he's prepared to play first base. Sano's set for first base, but we all know Sano. He can't stay healthy. He had 204 last year. He struck out 90 times in 205 plate appearances. I mean, I get the strikeouts and all, but that's a little ridiculous.
That's very ridiculous.
He had 204 with a 287 on base percentage. I mean, can't have that. So I think Kirilloff's going to see a lot of time at first base too with the Twins, and I just think he's going to come up and his bat's going to play. He made great contact last year, even at Double-A last year. In 2019, I'm sorry, because there wasn't last year. There was no minor leagues, but in 2019, he only struck out 18% of the time, which is pretty solid at Double-A level. And 9 home runs, 7 stolen bases. He showed a little speed, a little power. The kid just hits. And he was a first-round pick for a reason. And I think he's going to come up and he's going to really take the opportunity to play left field. He's going to play a lot of first base, like I said. And I think he's just going to mash. May take a month or so to get acclimated to the major leagues, but in that lineup, hitting around Nelson Cruz, and Josh Donaldson and guys like that. I think he's just going to take off this year.
Yeah. And then another thing with the Twins, it sucks to see, their top prospect Royce Lewis going down for an ACL. I was excited to see him play this year, like in the minors, and then he would have been up next year, but at this point,
that's brutal.
At this point, he'll probably be starting in the minor leagues next year when he comes back.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts. But I'm leaving him. That's why I'm leaving him off my prospect. I started doing the Twins prospect. I'm leaving him off the list just because he's not playing this year. Yeah. But he's definitely, a stud prospect, But luckily, we got Andrelton Simmons for this year.
All right.
So we'll see what happens.
That was a good pickup, Simmons.
Oh, definitely.
Great glove.
Oh, yeah.
He's underrated hitting too. I don't care what people say. He can still hit a little bit too.
Yeah.
He's a solid hitter. I just love the glove, man. I mean, he's the best.
Terrific.
He's the best defensive shortstop I've seen since Ozzie Smith. I mean, the guy's awesome.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Pitchers are gonna love him.
Yeah.
And moving Polanco to second, or having Polanco be like a utility guy and having Arias at second, it's just gonna make the infield so much better.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna make their pitching staff that much better. Like, they didn't really.
Was that an echo?
Hello.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say I don't remember what I was to say now because you.
Sorry.
Did you have a prospect that you like, Joey, for this year, like as rookie of the year?
Yeah, I like the guys you mentioned. Both those guys I like a lot. I don't think Crochet will win it just because he's most likely out of the pen for the season, so they probably won't give rookie of the year to somebody who's playing like a stretch relief or like high situation level. He could.
Devin Williams won this year.
That's true. That's true.
If Crochet comes out and has a .8 ERA and strikes out 2/3 of his batters,
very true.
It's a little bit different with the longer season. Though. He probably won't be able to do that.
I'm just thinking, compiling stats wise, somebody might outshine him. They'll probably give it to an offensive. But you're completely right. Yeah. Williams dominant, and Crochet's got that potential. He just throws gas.
Yeah, 101.
He's good, man. He's so ready too. Just coming straight out of college, pitching last year. I mean, he's a good pitcher. I feel like they're going to turn him into like a Chris Sale. Like he's going to start the bullpen, and he'll be a starter eventually, though, for them down the road.
I think so too. His first relief appearance he went 6 innings. So.
Yeah. But the guy I don't know. I mean, there's so many good choices. I like Kelnick though. I think we might as well just ride this. We've been talking about him a little bit. I like Kelnick. I think even if he doesn't start, obviously at the major league level, or they don't come to an extension or something, they don't talk to him, whatever about it. But he'll be up there. He's ready to go. I think he'll play enough games to put himself in the running, and I just think he's been ready, and I think he's gonna have a good season for the Mariners, and it's gonna be one of the, I wouldn't say few bright spots, but kind of few bright spots for their team. So I could see him putting on a show this year.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think so. Yeah, him and Kyle Lewis are like the two biggest bright spots they have.
Yeah.
I mean, their pitching. What is their pitching? They brought Paxton back, but you don't know what they're going to get with him if he can stay healthy or not.
Yeah, Marco Gonzalez was pretty solid last year, and he's always been kind of solid, but he's not like a flashy guy. But he's pretty solid. Like Logan Gilbert, he might be up at some point. I don't know when he's getting called up, if it's this year or not, but
It feels like might be up this year.
Yeah, I know.
he seems like a really good prospect.
We'll see if Kikuchi can turn it around.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You know,
He
they
always
brought
has
him
the
over
stuff.
last year, and you know, who knows what he's going to be like.
Yeah.
If Paxton can stay healthy, he could be an ace.
Yeah, he's good when he's healthy.
I forgot
Yeah.
he went back to them.
Yeah.
I keep thinking he's with like the Yankees still or something. Why? I know he's not.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot the twins' son J.A. Happ. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, we got Happ.
Yeah, I forgot that too. They got
Forgot all
Shoemaker
about
too,
that.
right?
Yeah, Shoemaker. Yeah, and they got Pineda back again.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
You
their
got to
starting
figure you
staff
get one
is like,
solid pitcher out of 3 of those at least. You're gonna find one.
yeah. I mean, Maeda and Barrios are the top 2 guys, and they have a couple prospects, but the prospects are probably a year away in Duran and Balasovic. But
Why don't they sign Odorizzi? Bring him back.
I don't know. These guys will be signed like
Right?
in May.
Isn't that a perfect fit though? I think
it is. Of course it is. They should bring these guys. They should bring someone like Porcello in who's a ground ball pitcher. You gotta have Drelton Simmons playing a short and Donaldson a third. Duh. Like bringing a ground ball pitcher. For God's sake.
Yeah.
They just eat everything up on that infield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know. I'm just glad they brought Nelly Cruz back. He'll just be on. He's just going to be on 1-year deals with the Twins until he's 49. Just keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Julio Franco, just never ends.
Yeah.
He just keeps hitting bombs. But he more powerful than Franco.
Oh, dude, the Nelly Cruz is the kid's a kid. I call him a kid. He's 5 years younger than I am. I mean, the dude just still hits. He just hits. He's the right-handed David Ortiz at this point. I mean, honestly, you look at Ortiz toward the end of his career when he's 39, 40, 41. Dude was still hitting 300 with 40 bombs. That's what Nelly Cruz still does. And he's a great influence in the clubhouse. He's a veteran. He's the only one that hit last year in the postseason for us.
Yeah.
Johnny, I got a question for you.
What's that?
Who sees more playing time for the whole season at second base? Is it Polanco or is it Arias?
Arias.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Arias is the real deal.
He hits forever.
Polanco, yeah, and he swings at everything, but he's a contact guy. He doesn't walk, doesn't strike out. He just puts the bat on the ball, and he's going to be one of those guys that plays up, because normally you see those guys fluctuate because of their BABIP and stuff like that. Like they'll fluctuate the average. I just think he just has a knack for putting the bat on the ball and putting it in the right spot. Polanco had a real good year, 2018, 2019. He's kind of hit and miss, Polanco. And I think he is better served as like a utility guy. He's not a very good shortstop fielding wise. I don't know how he'd be at second base defensively. Yeah. But I think he's much better off being a utility guy, Polanco. He's a veteran who can play. Arias, I think, would be better served staying in the same spot as far as being in the same spot on a diamond, like at second. I think Polanco is someone, especially as a switch hitter too, is better served. He would be fine moving around, playing third if Donaldson needs time off, playing a little shortstop, playing second base, even going over to first. I'd even say put Polanco in left field if you need to. I mean, I think he could play anywhere and be serviceable.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know,
Nice little
whereas
utility play.
Arias, I'd rather see him develop more as a second baseman, because a lot of times these guys come up, and if you move them around the diamond as far as defensively, it affects their offense.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to do that to Arias. I'd feel more comfortable doing that to Polanco because he's a little more comfortable as far as being a veteran of a few years in the majors. So I think Polanco's better served moving around. I think Arias is going to see most of the time at second.
That makes sense. Polanco's it's so crazy because he had a solid year. Was it 2019? Just he had a solid year at the plate.
Yeah.
18?
Yeah.
18 too?
18. Yeah, he had a real good year in 18. 19, he was solid too. And then last year, of course, last year is an anomaly. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's so weird. Like I feel like Arias could be maybe because he swings at everything, maybe not like a leadoff hitter, but he's like a solid like number 2 hitter maybe in the lineup. I don't know
I
if
think he's going to be batting farther down.
Yeah, the lineup's too good, but I mean, like down the road, if he keeps playing consistently, like stays on the team for a while, you know, he's probably still like a down the lineup hitter, but he hits for such good average, you know.
Yeah, I honestly think he's better at the bottom of the lineup.
Like turn it over like a 9 hitter or something.
I think honestly, leadoff. It's probably Kepler. Be honest with you.
He's an on base guy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, he's got a little pop. He could get like that leadoff homer. He hit some leadoff bombs.
Yeah. Oh, I love Kepler. You know.
Yeah.
People forget. You know, it took him a little while to get developed. You know, he was drafted as 16-year-old out of Germany. You know, it's like
really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, no one knew who this kid was.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just drafted him tonight too.
Yeah, he was like a nobody.
That's so crazy. I did
not
know.
2019. I mean, he really started. The power really came. He had 36 home runs in 2019. I mean, the dude's got a power. Takes a walk. You know.
Yeah. I drafted him in the 18th. Yeah, he plays good defense too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I drafted him in the 18th round of this 12-teamer. I'm hoping for some power out of him. I mean, you know, he's got that.
Oh yeah. But definitely of that. I don't know if he's going to lead off. I mean, like you said, they may have Arias up there in the lineup. It depends. You know, we have to see how everything. But I'm figuring they'll have Kepler lead off, Donaldson batting second.
Yeah.
You know, Nelly Cruz got to be probably third.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking at roster resource right now, and they've got, which they're just guessing too. I mean,
yeah,
be real, they don't know what the lineup's gonna be, but they've got Kepler at the top, Arias hitting second, Donaldson third, Cruz fourth, Sano, Kirilloff, Buxton, Jeffers, and Simmons. So they've got Garver as the bench catcher and Jeffers. They're probably going to be like switch off though, right? Like,
well, I honestly think Jeffers, and he's going to be in one of my top prospects actually, because he's still a rookie. He's still a rookie technically.
Mm-hmm.
He only had 55 plate appearances last year, but I think Jeffers is going to take over for Garver.
He's better defensively, right? Too.
Yeah, Garver's a good pitch framer. But I think he was a fluke. I honestly think it was a fluke.
at the plate.
I think his hitting is solid, but I mean 30 home runs the other 2 years ago. I mean, it's
That
out
was
of
way too.
nowhere.
That was coming down.
Yeah, he's a solid hitter, but I think having that combo, and I think Jeffers is just better of an overall player. I think Jeffers is going to be the one to be the catcher for the most part. You got to remember too, Garver's a late bloomer. Garver's like 30 years old.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he came out of nowhere. He's been in the minor leagues
go off.
for a long time. So
Yeah. I like Jake Cave too. Sorry, not to just talk about the Twins here, but
I know Alex is getting pissed off. I can see him falling asleep
What?
over here.
we haven't heard one thing about the
Yeah,
Yankees
what?
yet, too. So, Alex, you get all the credit today because you haven't talked about the Yankees yet. So,
Well, not yet, but now that you bring it up,
There you go. All right, go ahead, Alex. All yours.
good segue. Tell us about Dominguez.
oh, Dominguez, yeah, I'm excited to see him. He's gonna finally make his pro debut this year. So I'm excited to see what he can do, how he can transition. It's definitely excited. I mean, he's been hyped up so much. I kind of hate all the hype he gets. Like people already saying he's gonna be Mickey Mantle. Like slow down a bit. He hasn't even played yet in the minor leagues. But I'm still, if he can be half that, then I'll be happy. Like
Definitely. They were calling Kyle Schwarber the Babe Ruth. Like, come on, like these prospects, like
Yeah,
slow
I
down.
love this hype.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like they got
it's,
Christian Hernandez
silly.
they just internationally signed the shortstop, and they're calling him Baby A-Rod already.
yeah, it's ridiculous that they need to just stop doing all this, like comparing it to legends. So, like, just let them be who they are, and then see how they turn out to be, before you jump to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny. Because when Mike Trout was drafted, no one was comparing him to anybody.
No,
And look, and now you're gonna have kids coming up as the next Mike Trout.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. Just stop it already, because you never know.
Mhm.
They've compared so many players coming up through the minor leagues to certain guys like a Mickey Mantle or whatever, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, they're calling Luis Robert the next Mike Trout or Aaron Judge. Like,
Yeah.
Judge I could see, but Trout, like, calm down. Like, that's like a
It's like,
whole different
stop.
tier now. Yeah.
I remember Florial too. He was getting so hyped up, and now he's nothing. Well, I don't even like. He's not even. I don't think he'd be in my top 10 for Yankees prospects.
You were low on him. I remember when we first recorded, like the first or second podcast for your podcast or episode for your podcast. You were pretty low on Florial. I remember.
Yeah, he can't stay healthy, and then when he is playing, he wasn't even doing that great. Like even like just in single A, he wasn't even doing that good. Like,
What did they compare him to?
I don't remember hearing any comparisons with him, but they still kind of hyped him up so much. He was like, at one point, he was the Yankees' #1 prospect, I think.
Yeah.
And then they just, I don't know. They should have. I think they really should have traded him when they had the chance. Like when people were actually like, when teams are actually interested in his name, like when it was brought up in trades, like they just should have like ate that up.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because like now it's too late. Like, well, unless he can turn it around and he proves me wrong, like then it's not going to do anything.
That's why teams, it's funny with fans too. Fans get all hyped up about, oh, they traded for like a veteran. Like they'll trade for like an Arenado or whatever. And St. Louis fans will be like, not necessarily this aspect of it, but any trade that involves like a big name major league player, the team that gives up like 4 or 5 prospects, they're like, oh, we gave up this guy, this guy, this guy. He's done nothing. That guy is a prospect. He's done absolutely nothing in the major leagues. And it, just like you're talking about Florial, he was like the number 1 prospect. The Yankees were going to be like, this guy. And I said the same thing. I said, the guy's got way too many holes in his swing. And he's a great athlete. Fine. He could run. He's a big kid. Play center field. Wonderful. But what does it turn out to be? He's Byron Buxton. You know what I mean?
Not even at this point.
And not even, because he hasn't even made the
Buxton's
major leagues
actually
yet.
solid.
Yeah, well, he's actually played in the major leagues. I wouldn't say he's
Right,
solid,
right, right.
Yeah.
He's great defensively.
Oh, without a doubt. And he can run like the wind. But, he can't stay healthy. He's never panned out as far as being a number 2 pick overall.
Right.
And I honestly thought when the Twins drafted Buxton, I was like, this dude reminds me a lot of Andrew McCutchen with more speed. That's who I thought Byron Buxton was going to be. I thought he was going to be McCutchen with more speed. His swing, his body type. Because Buxton's not a big dude. Neither is McCutchen. What, 5'10", 5'11", 190 pounds. Nothing crazy. But Florial was the same way. Except lefty.
Right.
Could run like the wind. Great defensive center fielder. What killed me about Buxton is that, and what bothered me about Florial, what killed me about Buxton is he had a great eye in the minor leagues. He walked a lot, didn't strike out a lot. He got to the major leagues and couldn't hit a fucking off-speed pitch. Florial showed in the minor leagues, even at a young age, way too much swing and miss in his game. And if he wasn't going to fix it or couldn't fix it, he was never going to make it. Buxton I had hoped for because he had a good eye, good plate discipline in the minors. Florial just showed it right off the bat. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you get to single A or double A ball and you're striking out 33, 40% of the time, sorry, you're not going to make it in the majors. I get that strikeouts don't really matter as much. But honestly, if you're striking out 150 to 200 times at like a 35% clip, if you're not hitting 40 or 50 home runs and walking at a 20% clip, then you're just not valuable. This just doesn't cut it.
I mean,
unless you're like Miguel Sano and you strike out over 43%, but hit like 40 bombs.
Yeah, that's fine. I can deal with that. But yeah, like you're saying, like I said, Sano struck out 90 times in 205 plate appearances. I mean, it's almost half the time.
Right.
With 9 home runs. No, that's not cutting it. That's not cutting it.
No. The good news is Florial is only 22 still, so if he can make some adjustments, turn around, he can still be something. So
yeah, always got time. I mean, no doubt.
I was just looking at his stats. I totally forgot he actually played in the game. He got 3 at bats in a second game of a doubleheader last year, August 28th.
Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
He struck out twice though, didn't he?
Yeah. He did get a hit though.
Oh,
he did get it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember watching that. Totally forgot that happened. I mean, this season was just out of my mind so quickly.
I mean, it was just
so
wild. You had the Marlins make the playoffs when, who would have thought they would have made the playoffs last year? Sorry, that was a random bit of information, but I actually think that they're pretty solid this year. They're just in a terrible division to be good in.
Yeah, they needed a 60-game season to make the playoffs, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know. We've been going at this for a while, so Joey, you should go and get some of your steak there over there.
Yes, sir. I smell it, and she came over here. My girlfriend came to the door, and she's like, "The smoke alarm, the smoke alarm." And she's worried it's gonna go off while we're on here doing the podcast. And I'm like, I just smell it. I want to get up, but we're talking baseball, so it's like, okay, food, baseball. Like
How about
I
both?
don't know. I would love both, but like I think the rule. And there goes my Cubs thing, just fell down. I feel like the rule is like I think I need to eat the food with her if she makes the food for me.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But food and baseball at a game. I mean, I can't wait to go back to that.
Oh,
yeah.
Hot dogs. Oh my god. Hot dogs and beer at a baseball game. Sit and relax.
nachos out of a too much pod tar batting helmet.
There you go. There you go.
That's what we need.
You know what I want a too much pod tar helmet with some mustard in it, so I could dip my hot pretzel in there.
Oh yeah.
That's what I want. A nice hot pretzel.
Oh, my girlfriend.
Big ass.
That. She's the pretzel queen.
Oh, I love pretzels.
Yeah.
Oh man. That's great.
Right now. You guys can't.
Oh man. I'm getting hungry.
I'm smelling throughout the whole house right now. It's not cool.
All right. Well, we'll let you go and get some of
We'll
that.
have your steak.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks everybody for listening to this pod. Kind of just random stuff all over the place, like we usually do. But I mean, we got some good information in about buyers and sell. I mean, not buyers and sellers. I'm looking forward to the trade deadline already. About winners and losers of the offseason, and some other stuff, prospects. So, like we talked about, Primetime Sports Talk's going to be your site for all stuff MLB, NFL draft is coming up soon. Got a lot of stuff coming out, so keep checking all that shit out. It's going to be a lot of content coming here. March Madness is just a couple weeks away now, so we got that stuff going, and yeah, let's roll. And just a reminder, you can never have too much pod tar.